Okay, and we are live on YouTube.
All right, this is Todd Moore. Let's call the Friday, May 22nd, 2020 OpenJS Foundation board meeting to order.
Great, thank you. Okay, up on the screen, we have our OpenJS Foundation board directory. And up on the screen now, we also have our agenda. So for today, we have a couple of things which we're going to go through. First off, we will approve the meeting minutes from the last meeting. We also will discuss a little bit about the upcoming event, have some updates on the Node.js certification program, and then we have some representatives, our directors from the CPC, who will provide an update on what's happening there. And then finally, we'll have a marketing update from Rachel. Does anybody have anything to add to the agenda?
Looks like we can get going.
Okay. First topic is to approve the April 24th, 2020 board meeting minutes from the public session. These have been distributed out to the board. Does anybody have any questions, or would somebody like to make a motion to adopt the minutes?
Motion to adopt.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. Do we have a second?
Second.
Great. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Do we have any opposed? Do we have any abstains? All right, motion carries and the minutes are adopted. So first topic is an update on the event. Robin, would you like to take us through this?
Sure. I think we had mentioned last month that we are officially a virtual event, and we're quite excited about it. There's new technologies and platforms that are allowing us to kind of replicate some of that engagement we can have. And so we're working on building that out so you can chat with the speakers and learn more from the sessions. So just off on the event, and again, it's our 25th anniversary. So our program committee just had amazing CFPs to choose from. That schedule is now published on the event website. So if you register for the event, which we'd like you to do, you can actually go in and build out your schedule. And then we've also published our keynote lineup, which is quite exciting. Lots of folks who are doing amazing and inspiring things across the industry. So please check that out. The event is free. And we also have our collaborator summit that we've expanded to 3 days. So Monday is geared toward new contributors. Thursday, we're doing a project specific day. So if you're working on a project or want to do more working with AMP or Node or Electron or other projects, you can join one of those project tracks on Thursday. And then Friday is our Cross-Project Council Collaborator Summit Day. Lots of information on the site and ways to get engaged. Any questions?
No, thank you for the update.
Okay, next up is a certification update. Robin, would you like to take us through this one?
Yeah, we are now over 700 registered on our certification. If you may know, we launched a training program to support that. We launched the app certification training program last week, and we'll soon be launching services and a free training as well. So important point, we actually extended our 30% discount through May 31st. So be sure to check that out. And you'll often see regular blogs, probably every week or so, on our OpenJS Foundation blog from, for example, folks who have taken the exam and what to expect.
And Robin, if somebody were to pay for the certification now and get the discount but not take it immediately, is that good?
Yeah, you get 12 months to take your exam and you get free retakes. So we do find that folks, once you do buy your exam, it is good to spend a little time studying and checking out those resources. But just so you know, if you're quite well versed, that you are allowed to check out the documentation as you're taking the exam, and there's even links to documentation on each page. But it is a 2-hour exam, so you do want to be efficient with your time.
Any questions for Robin?
Oh, one last thing is Dave Clements, who helped develop a lot of this content. He'll be actually a speaker at OpenJS World. So he'll be going up on the agenda, so he can actually share more. So if you want to learn more, be sure to tune into Dave's sessions. I think that's it.
Okay. Moving on, CPC update. Michael and Chris, would you like to provide an update on what's been happening on the CPC?
Sure. So like in terms of project applications, we don't have any new applications to report. The CPC is focusing on a few issues that are potentially slowing down some of the final steps for existing applications. So we're looking at how we can remove those roadblocks. We're continuing the process of onboarding existing projects, and there aren't any blockers on that front that we're aware of. A few highlights since the last meeting is we had an election of voting members from the regular members. That was something that had been in the charter, but we hadn't done for the first year. So that vote's been held and closed. We approved the charter for the Code of Conduct Working Group. The Collaboration Network proposal has landed at stage 0 and is now proposed to move to stage 1. It's an open PR for that. We made a few tweaks to the CPC governance, the charter and the governance, which were landed after board approval. And one example is clarifying the requirements for regular members. Some of the active work that's out there, and before I do that, I'll just remind people that if you really want to keep up to what is up, Jory sends out I forget the title of it, but like, you know, what's happened in the last week. And that's a great way to keep up on the individual updates. And I've got the link to the mailing list. You can register for that. But there's some active discussion around how we use the second CPC director seat this year. It was assigned to be elected by the Node project for the first year. And it's up to the CPC how it will be assigned, or the process for it being assigned in the second year. So the discussions are starting on that. There's some discussion around the individual membership program, which is something that we've done some work in the past, but hasn't been actively discussed. So discussions restarting there. We're continuing to work on guidance for security reporting for projects, copyright guidance. We've talked about a number of code of conduct process issues. The election for the CPC chair is upcoming in the next month or so. And as Robin mentioned earlier, there's lots of preparations going on for the Collaborator Summit, and you know, sessions and all the work that's going to go into to be ready for that. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Michael. Move
Well,
on to the
thanks
next.
for all the work that you put in, Michael.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on to the next topic, the marketing update. Rachel, would you like to take us through this?
Sure. So first slide here is our OpenJS Foundation blog metrics. I'd like to point everybody to the May 2020 number, and that's actually a little bit out of date. We've actually have surpassed our April numbers as of this morning, and that's mostly due to the training announcement that we put out earlier this week, which also didn't make this update, but it's always great content. People really enjoy reading about what we're doing with training and certification. So that kind of came to light as well this month too. Any questions around what we're seeing on this slide? Great, we can move to the next slide. Here are our website metrics. slightly up over last month. Again, you can kind of see some of the with the training stuff. We did hit a little bit of we got some good traffic to the website. We're going to continue to iterate on website metrics. Next month, you'll be seeing maybe some new stuff around referrals and things like that. So keep your eyes for next month, and we'll continue to report out on this stuff. Any questions about what we're seeing regarding website metrics?
No, but just a note on referrals. We expect that many folks land on our site and then go off to a project site or vice versa. So Rachel's going to do some more, gather some more telemetry data on that.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think seeing how this leads to traffic to the project sites would be really interesting.
Yeah,
absolutely. Great, we can go to the next slide if there's no other questions. So onto social media. I always start out with sentiment. Our sentiment is great this month. Again, dialing it down a little bit into what was miscategorized under negative. For some reason, the tweet from Node-RED was categorized as negative. I did go in and manually update all of those things. And as you can imagine, there were a lot of retweets and things like that. So there was a lot of, just updating on that. And then, the jQuery announcement, which, releases are positive. However, some of that stuff, some of their language may be considered negative. So went through and updated all of that. You can see our published engagement trend down at the bottom left. We did see some good engagement around the OpenJS World announcement. So that was good to see. So yeah, any questions regarding Twitter specifically? Great, we can head on to the next slide. So LinkedIn continues, we continue to grow our audience there. Actually, I logged in this morning and we were over 600 followers. So we're really gaining some traction. If you haven't had a chance to go and follow us along there, please do. It's greatly appreciated. 100% positive sentiment, so that's great to see. And I did want to point out the dip in engagement trend. And I attribute that to last month. We were up so high that, we were naturally going to see a little bit of a decline. So still overall, we're doing really well on growing our LinkedIn community and engagement and all of that stuff on that platform. Any questions regarding LinkedIn specifically? Great, we can move along to the next. So we continue just to do really great on YouTube, and a lot of that we do attribute to our monthly AMAs. This month we featured Node-RED, and it was our highest performing video. We got a great spike. It was our highest attended. So not only in replays, but actually folks who joined live and asked questions, very engaged group. So that was really awesome to see. And you can just visually see what that did for our numbers. And yep, we're continuing to chug along on YouTube and build engagement there. And we'll continue with our AMAs. Our next one is going to be with the Node.js Security Working Group on June 3rd. So really excited about that. Any
so on this one,
questions here?
On this one, Rachel, yeah. So would you categorize the people who came and asked things more looking for something specific that they needed to understand in more depth, or just trying to understand the technology? If I could just make those two categories.
Sure. So it was kind of a mix. I mean, I think that there were folks who wanted to understand direction of where things were going. And then there were some more like tactical type questions. So it was kind of a mix of both.
So if we did this more regularly, even than what we're doing right now with the other projects, is there some guidance you're giving the projects when you set up and Ask Me Anything?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, you know, typically we start with, you know, are you interested in doing it? These are the dates that we typically do it. And then we come up with like an outline. So a lot of times with these things, we want to be prepared in case nobody asks questions. Sometimes that happens, sometimes, you know, most times it doesn't. We collect all questions in advance via a Google form. So people have, so, you know, the participants have an opportunity to see sort of what is being asked. And, you know, we have like a whole, production thing. We've kind of, you know, we have someone on Zoom handling questions coming in, and it's turned into a well-oiled machine. I'm pretty proud of the program. So
Cool.
yeah, lots of guidance, lots of back and forth.
You have a pipeline.
So you've got a pipeline, and then anybody who's thinking about it out there who might want to do one of these, you're going to give them lots of support, is I think what I heard out of
Absolutely.
That.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely. We're doing them monthly. For starters, it would be great to be able to scale them a little bit more, just depending on you know, participation rate and things like that. But right now we are booked through September, which is great. So lots of interest from the projects.
All right, good.
I think the nice thing too is we're starting to use SMEs as the host, asking questions. Yeah. And so it really just streamlines it. It makes it much more authentic and technical. So that's been working really well.
Yes, agree. You know, it's definitely an iterative process. Initially, it was not a SME doing like the moderation piece of it. And we've quickly learned that, you know, it really helps to have someone who's very familiar with the, you know, that technical aspect. And it's really made all the difference in the content. Any other questions? Great. I think that's the end of my slides. Yes. Thank you.
It is. Thank you. Okay, so this brings us to the end of our content for today. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to bring up?
Looks like we have reached the end. So thank you to everyone who attended, but thank you to the staff again for pulling everything together for the board meetings. Very nice work, and you know, we continue to make a lot of progress. So it's good to see the support happening for the team at large. Thank you. So let's call the board meeting to a close.
Thank you very much, everybody. We'll talk to you next month.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Take care.
Yep. Hi.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.